Difference between ARM64, ARMel, and ARMhf. I am trying to download a Debian image for an ARM Cortex-A7 processor, but I can't figure out which image to download. I have looked on the Debian website, and see 3 different downloads for ARM processor. What is the difference between them, and which one should I download?
The Wikipedia article says this CPU implements the ARM7A architecture. This and the title of this suggest you need ARMhf. It also seems that BananaPie uses Cortex-A7 and is explicitly supported by Debian. Some folks even provide an optimized Jessie rebuild.
The ARMhf, ARMel, port targets a range of older 32-bit ARM devices, particularly those used in NAS hardware and a variety of plug computers. The newer ARM hard float, ARMhf, port supports newer, more powerful 32-bit devices using version 7 of the ARM architecture specification. The 64-bit ARM, ARM64, port supports the latest 64-bit ARM-powered devices. Source: although this question is from late 2015, it may still be useful to know.
So, explaining the Debian offer requires a bit of background. What you are talking about are the names of its official ARM ports. As you can see, they correspond to a specific triplet of ISA, AS and ABI options. These in turn are the least common multiple that can assure software compatibility of the compiled packages. Putting aside the self-evident ARM64 build, exploiting the 64-bit mode of some ARM8 CPU, I guess like most confusion arises from the other ones, all starting with ARM Linux. Once upon a time, there actually just was a single ARM target, but for a number of reasons ranging from Indianness to floating point support and performance it has become obsoleted. Embedded ABI, pretty empty moniker if you ask me technically speaking, but so ARM calls it, specification having since supplanted it flawlessly. ARMel is nothing else than a new name, to distinguish between both the old version, and the ARM Big Indian, then unofficial, now abandoned altogether, one. It should be considered the most basic, and it should run on just about any hardware under the sun. On the other hand though, if your processor has a FPU, that's not going to be used. Given before ARM8 there was no guarantee for that to be supported, the majority of v7a cores did, but the situation is dire the far behind you go with time. Maximum compatibility entails any related instruction is getting referred to glib softfp library, not to be confused with the soft float ABI flag, not VFP. And this is why, ultimately, ARMhf was created. User space is yet again not link compatible, but you are getting as much speediness as possible. Albeit nothing was stopping them from using the aforementioned softfp instead, like Android does for example, allowing for both compatibility and an almost uncompromised access to floating point hardware.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.